See? And the vicious cycle continues. We wonder why we have a broken society. We have a broken society because we have broken homes, broken marriages, broken lives, broken dreams, broken promises, broken people. What can we give birth to but brokenness? You see? I said we have a broken society because our society is ruled and governed by people who themselves are broken and damaged. We have a damaged and broken system. We have a damaged and broken society. We have a damaged and broken culture. Because why? It is ruled, governed by people who themselves are broken and damaged. Why should we be surprised that this happened? If we are honest. If we are brutally and sincerely honest. Can somebody from a broken home give birth to anything else? Unless they work on themselves. Unless they make up their mind. I came from a broken home, but I will make up my mind and make sure a broken home doesn't come out of me. If you make up your mind and do that, yes. And sometimes you try to do that, it seems society will mark you. Now so you be. Don't bring those European stuff here. You see our problem? You see? It takes somebody's death to wake us up. Let's say a few months from now, are we going to be still talking about it? Or we're going to go back to life as normal until another person dies that's famous? But millions of women have died before her. No one gave them a voice or an attention. No. Millions of women will still die today. Millions of women are in their marriages. They're not physically dead. They are emotionally and mentally dead. Which is worse? Hello? They're not physically dead, but they are mentally and emotionally they are dead. They are a walking corpse. A walking dead. And those kind of women are even more dangerous. That you see her one day, she set the whole house on fire, including herself. And we wonder why. That's your answer. I say sometimes. I didn't say all the time. Or sometimes they'll just pack the bags and leave. No answer. No, leave the kids, the husband, just go. You see? People are walking around, they are emotionally, mentally dead. And they're just going through the motion. Even she having sex with you as your wife. You have abused her so much, she's not even there. You might as well have sex with a dead corpse. Because that's who she is, mentally, emotionally. That's what you have turned her to be. You killed her by your words. Your verbal and emotional abuse. And emotional abuse can also be if a husband neglect his wife. If you neglect, even if you don't verbally use words to tear her down, you just ignore her emotional and mental needs. That's abuse. Yes. You don't encourage her. You don't pray with her. You don't pray for her. You don't motivate her. Nothing she does, you even happy. But you don't encourage, you don't use negative words, but you just ignore her like she doesn't even exist. Who don't want to be? Who does not want to be wanted? As human beings, we all who are created in the image of God longs to be wanted and needed and loved and appreciated. And oh no, nobody can tell me I don't care. It's a lie. Because even God who created you, you know what he created you for? To long for him. Hello? Yes. For you to want him. That's why he gave you free will. He didn't turn you into a robot. God gave you free will. So you can freely want him. So who doesn't want to be loved? Who doesn't want to be loved or wanted or appreciated? So you neglect your wife. You ignore her. Nothing she say you take seriously. You just leave her like, that's another form of abuse. Some of you men, you rape your wife. I know it sounds foreign to you. How can a husband? Oh yes. She's a free living human being. Not because you put a ring on her finger or you pay dowry. That gives you right to what? Impose your will over her and rape. No. Forcing your wife or your girlfriend, for those of you not married, or fiance, whatever you want to call yourself, it's rape. Imposing your will, your free will over somebody else is rape. Even God, who gave you free will, does not even impose his will upon you. That's why he gave you free will to choose. If God who created you cannot impose his will upon you, why you think because you are a husband, you can impose your will and rape somebody or force them to do something because I'm the man, I'm the head. Even God doesn't do that. That's why he gave you free will. God does not impose his will upon you. Why do you impose your will on your wife? And use religion and the Bible and culture and tradition to justify. Are you better than God? Hello? Many of us who were raised in Africa, Nigeria, many of us were raised by selfish, self-centered, self-focused, egotistical narcissists. We were raised. And what else do you expect to come out of you, out of me, out of the society, out of the culture, until we begin to address this matter? Let's not let this die down. A few days later, we'll pick up another subject, we'll run with it, and it's finished. It may take training. You go to school to be a doctor and a lawyer for how many years? But you want to get married and spend the rest of your life with somebody, there's no school for that. What's up with that? When that being married is one of the biggest decisions, even more important than school. You know why? Because if you become the best lawyer, but your marriage is hell, it will affect you on your job. So it affects society. You are the best teacher, but you come home, your marriage, your home is hell. It will affect you on the job. It affects your job. It affects how you handle your students, isn't it? That's why you'll see teachers in videos, and I see the video going viral and see people laughing. We contributed to it because we have seen video going viral of teachers in Africa, Liberia, Nigeria. I've seen it. And the teacher flogging the children, whether the child is 5 years old or the child is 12 years old or 15 years old. The teacher, they will line up, the teacher will flog them. And then you guys sharing that video and you laughing, making comments. I saw one on Instagram recently. I saw one a few years ago in Nigeria, was going viral. People laughing, and I went and made a comment right there. I said, why do we even find this funny? Before this woman died, before her death, I made a comment. I said, why is this funny? What part of this video will find humorous and entertaining? I said, that teacher who flogging those children sounds to me like he's frustrated. He has a lot of pent-up anger and emotion, and he's taking his emotion and anger out on those children. Those teenagers and those little boys and little girls under 17 years and under. Now, when those same teenagers grow up and take their own pent-up frustration and anger, and they flog their wives, then you start crying for domestic violence. But it's happening now. You find it entertaining. You are laughing. You are making comments, and you're sharing it. Now, years later, now somebody's died at that same, because of that. Now you say you are angry. You say you are activist now. You see our hypocrisy? You think that man started beating his wife today? You check his background. He came from an abusive home. He himself probably was a victim of an abusive home. Made his children victim of an abusive home. And he didn't stop till he put his wife 6 feet under. But I'm sure when the teacher was flogging him and the whole neighborhood was watching, you were laughing. If you can find those videos entertaining today, you are part of the problem. You also contributed to her death. We should not see those videos anymore going forward and find it entertaining. We laugh. But violence is the only way for us to solve problems in Africa. And we wonder why the society has become so violent. We wonder why. We're wondering. Nobody knows how to sit down and investigate and talk and find out, well, John, why you did what you did. Mary, why did you do what you do? We want to find out. You may be surprised. Mary, why you always lash out to your husband and disrespect your husband? You may find out your husband probably raped her at night or forced himself or doesn't treat her like she's less of a human being. You don't just act out like that. No. Something will make you to act out in a certain way. That husband, somebody should have said him now, either he came from an abusive home or something inside of him that's making him to be violent like that to the point of death. Yes, something went wrong. But we don't ask questions. You did something wrong, grab the bell, flogging, and then somebody videotape the flogging, and then people laughing. What's the difference? The teacher flogging the children, whether the children 5 years old, 10 years old, 17 years old, he's flogging them. And these are big men, not some small, big. And when you watch the video, you can almost feel his anger and frustration, but it has nothing to do with those children. It's something internal with his own issue that he hasn't dealt with, so he's taking it out on the students. And then we, who once experienced those in our childhood, we are now adults, we find it entertaining, we're laughing. Then I seen teacher go home and flog his wife. And he beat his wife. We'll see the video of him beating his wife, then we're angry. When we saw the video of him beating his students, we find it entertaining. Something's wrong somewhere. There's a missing link. We're not connecting the dots. Violence is violence. Period. How is it okay? And why is it entertaining that that same teacher is flogging his students and you watch the video, you find it entertaining, you laughing, you sharing, it make viral. That same teacher go home and flog his wife and his kids, then you say you're angry. Check yourself, man. Something's wrong somewhere. We're not connecting the dots. And then that same student go home, maybe a parent flog him. Then he grows up, he flog his wife. When his parent flog him, we go on YouTube, we laugh. It go viral, we laugh. His teacher flog him, we see it go viral, we laugh, we find entertaining. Then he grow up, he get married with all that violence all around him. And you flog his wife, then we angry. And you see our problem? You see? We don't connect the dots. We want to separate. There's no separation. Violence is violence, period. If you don't see it, we'll continue with the same society. But if we begin to address it at the root cause, we may have a better Africa, a better Nigeria, a better Liberia. Hello? We can no longer find those videos entertaining. It's not funny. It's not. We must stop it. Don't find it entertaining that a teacher is flogging somebody. You know how humiliating? You know, a teenager, you go as a teenager, anything somebody do is humiliating. Then you land them or you flog them. Or somebody will tell them to lay down and you flog them. Are they animals? Are they cattle? Are we human beings? Is this how human beings behave? Why do we act like barbarics? And then when people in the Western world call us barbaric, we want to get offended. But look at our behavior towards each other. Are we acting like human beings? And people say, oh, are you talking about not disciplining? There's a fine line between discipline and abuse. Unfortunately, African family homes, whether in Africa or in the Western world, we cross that line too many times. And we say it's our culture, it's our tradition. Well, there's some parts of our culture and our tradition that needs to be dropped. Not everything because it's culture and the tradition, it's okay, it's acceptable, and it must continue to go on because it's culture. It has to stop. I want to go back to religion. That many of you, men, you use the Bible to justify your physical, verbal abuse and control over your wife. Because the Bible said the man is the head. But for the woman to be the head, and for the man to be the head, Christ has to be your head. Go and study the nature, the attributes, and the characteristic of Christ. Model that to your wife. You won't have to beat her. She will love you the way the Bible says she's supposed to. Because why? You are loving her the way Christ said you're supposed to. But some of you have no clue the nature of Christ. Will Christ verbally abuse his wife? But you say you are the man. I'm addressing Christians now. You say that the man is the head. And Christ is the head of the man is the head of the woman. But you verbally abusing your wife. You physically beating your wife. Would Christ do that? So if Christ is not your head, don't expect somebody else to bow under you because you don't bow before Christ. If you don't humble yourself under Christ, don't expect another person to humble themselves under you. No, you don't deserve for anybody to put a head under you. You don't. Marriage or not, you are supposed to display Christ. If Christ was your head, his nature, his attributes, his characteristics supposed to flow through you. Christ will not flog his wife. Christ will not verbally physically abuse. You won't rape his wife. But you do all of those things, then you say, I'm the head. Which head? Who is your head? The devil is your head. Because that's the nature of the devil, not Christ. So if you can't bow down and humble yourself and submit to Christ, don't expect anybody else to bow down and submit to you. Sir, yes. Using the Bible as a tool and an instrument and a weapon to enslave your wife and your children in the name of religion and tradition and culture is wrong, and it has to stop. Isn't that the same Bible? Sometimes we Christian, we African will say, oh, the white man used the Bible. They came to Africa, they colonized us, and they used the Bible to enslave us. They said slave to obey their master. Oh, but see, so the same Bible they used to enslave you now is the very same weapon and tool that you are using to enslave your wife. So it's okay for you to do it, but when you say the colonial white master did it, it's not okay. You see our hypocrisy? That's why I say we the black race. In general, we're a bunch of emotional hypocrites. You're all making noise that the woman is dead. But somebody will pass a video of a teacher flogging something, you will find it funny. But you don't realize that's a sign right there. That's a sign there's a problem somewhere. That same teacher go home and flog your wife, then you have a problem. Why is one okay and one is not? Are they both not abused? A free living human being, like God gave you free will. Another person wants to exercise their will over you. When even God does not even exercise his will over you. He didn't. If he wanted to, he wouldn't give you free will for you to choose. Even God will not exercise his free will over you and subject you without your invitation. But another human being wants to subject their will and overtake you. That I'm the man, I'm the head, I'm the this. A figure-headed man. What's in your head? Do you have a heart? Is there anything in your heart? You say Christ is your head. Where's the love of Christ? The way you treat your wife, the way you treat your children, the way you raise your family. Where's the love in that? So all this nonsense going on, the culture, the society is to be blamed. We brought this on. How can we do this? Simple. First of all, we'll start sitting down talking about our issues. Number one. Number two, if you have to go to school for years for doctors and lawyers, they need to start teaching children from kindergarten straight through high school, teaching them those basic, simple things about self-respect and dignity for themselves and for others. That don't ill-treat this person if you don't want them to treat you like that. Respect, dignity, and honor. It must become part of the school curriculum. It might have to become part of the school's curriculum. I know I went to high school and college in the U.S. That was part of our curriculum about when you become teenager, don't allow young men to touch you on your breast and try to fondle you. It's inappropriate here. They pounded that in your head from high school straight through. From 7, 6, 7, 8th grade straight through high school, even in colleges, they still tell you that. Doesn't mean I'm not saying it doesn't happen at all. It still does, because some people are perverts. But you compare the percentage and the magnitude of what happened here and what is happening in Africa, Nigeria is almost like night and day, my friend. We must teach young men and women from kindergarten straight through high school and straight through college. Young men, keep your hands to yourself. If your girlfriend or whoever said no, back off. If you don't, we'll liken you up. Finish. Young lady, also, respect yourself and then put yourself in a position that you can be compromised. We must teach both. That's why some of these, they call it women's group, where they want to raise young women. And feminists, whatever. They want to raise the young women to go to school, to learn business. I don't have any issue with that. My only issue with that is you will raise up a bunch of young women to be educated and successful, but you leave the young men. Those young women will grow up and marry those same young men. You will give them headache. So if you're going to set up a system to train young women, please set up a system to train young men and young women, because those young men and young women will grow up in a society. There will be an imbalance. If you just teach a young lady to be smart, to be intelligent, self-respect, and dignity and honor, and you leave the young man anyhow, and then he grow up, who is he going to marry? Is that the same lady you raised up? And you want to give her a headache? So if you love your country, please put programs together and raise up and train up young men and young women. Make that part of our curriculum. If not, some of us need to set up a private organization or NGO group to address this issue. Since the government is not doing it, the government probably cannot do it, then we should start doing it. Maybe mothers, young women, mothers, single mothers should start getting up programs and begin to talk to these young men and young women. Go to schools all over Africa, Nigeria, and begin to set up programs. Volunteer your time and sit down and say, I want to teach a curriculum. It's free. Don't pay me, I'll do it. And raise up a new generation of young men and women that love and respect themselves and love and respect others. So we don't continue this vicious cycle of violence and abuse and brokenness. So many women today are broken internally, mentally, emotionally. They are broken, they are damaged. See? Anyway, I didn't mean my video to go on this long. But anyway, I hope something I said trigger something inside of somebody to provoke and to challenge you to wake up and do something. And you can't abuse, verbally, physically abuse your husband or your spouse. Let me just say your spouse and your children. Then you want to come on social media and talk. You are a hypocrite. You are part of the problem. So from today forward, stop mocking people. If they're not married, leave them alone. If you are more concerned about them getting married, you do something about it and leave them out of it. It's not all about getting married. All those people on social media talking about marriage, go find out behind the scene they're living in hell. But because misery love company, they will come and push you to get married so you can join them because they're miserable to need company. You see? Stop harassing people. If you have a successful marriage, great. If somebody is single and happy, great. Celebrate people where they are in their lives. If you are married, you are happy, I celebrate you. I bless God for your life. If you are single, you are happy, I celebrate you and I bless God for your life. Let's learn to begin to celebrate, appreciate, respect people for where they are, the journey where they are in their lives, instead of imposing our ideologies on them because why? We think we are better. It stops. The buck stops here and it stops with you and me. Bless you. This is Dagner. Thank you for your opinion, your suggestions, and your comments. Your likes and your dislike. Bring it. You insult me, I will block you. Because if you insult me, you are just proving my point that we're a society of insult. We have nothing to add to life but to insult and abuse each other, whether verbally, physically, or mentally. You see, the video went on longer than I expected. It's almost over an hour. I will have to cut it into bits and pieces. I hope something in here made sense. I don't know if it did. Great. If it didn't, just switch it off and go find something else that you like. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.